So do you feel like this drive inside of you to always work to improve, to become better every day, is that coming from a place of inspiration or a place of need and identification?
I think it comes from a place of growing up without growing up with a family. My mother worked in a factory majority of her life. My mom and my father divorced when I was young. So I don't have a memory of my mom and dad living together, being together. And I had a stepdad that was a truck driver that was he treated me like I was property of his and like I was there to do all of his work. Now, with all of that being said, he is what I contribute my work ethic to because he worked me like a rented mule. So I learned a work ethic early in life. And then growing up, I would try to do the right thing. Like my oldest son was conceived when I was a senior in high school. So I dropped out of my senior year as a high school student because I wanted to do what I didn't have. I wanted to be in my child's life, I wanted to be present. So I didn't finish high school, I dropped out. Well, I was a fairly decent high school student, decent grades. I would have passed without a problem. And everybody gave me a hard time for it. So I went ahead and got my GED. Did great, got my GED. And I seen my parents living in poverty for the best part of their whole life. And I got very fortunate. And that's what I say. I still, to this day, I got lucky and I got fortunate when I stumbled into an electrical job. And I started with zero knowledge about electricity, with zero knowledge about construction. And I jumped in and I started learning it and I enjoyed it. And I knew from that point that I wanted to one day be more. I wanted to be the boss. I wanted to be the guy who had the weight on his shoulders of making the hard decisions. Of course, at that young age and that time, I just seen a guy who wore khaki pants and a button-up shirt, and he'd come out to the job site while I'm in a ditch digging a hole, and I thought his life was great. So that's where my drive comes from. I have a piece of property that me myself I can walk out on my front porch and I look out at my property and I walk in my house. I get to my house at the end of the day. And sometimes I'm like, I can't believe this is mine. Like, I'm going to wake up because there's no way that I live in this house. This is my house. Like, my house. It's not, I'm renting it. I'm not living with a friend. This is my house. Well, mine in the banks anyway. But so I have that. I walk out and I look at the things I've got. You know, boys don't ever grow out of toys. Their toys just get bigger and more expensive. So I look out and I see what I got, and I have a beautiful '57 Chevy Bel Air that I have a lot of money in, and I have a Harley Davidson motorcycle. '57 Chevy is paid for. You know, I worked and I did a bunch to get that car. I got a motorcycle sitting there. It's a beautiful motorcycle. It's paid for. I look out across the way. We've got a side by side. I've got trailers, you know, and it sounds like nothing, but when I say I've got trailers, those man things. You know, I don't have a trailer. I have multiple trailers for multiple different applications. I've got a brand new 2026 Dodge 2500 pickup truck. I have another diesel truck. I have a project car. So I look out and I see these things and I'm like, that is great. I feel accomplished when I look at that. And then I I go, I've got to buckle down because getting it was the easy part. Keeping it is the hard part. So when I look at that, I tell myself, man, it's great that I've got it. Now I've got to buckle down and I've got to keep it. So I've got to keep grinding hard at work. I've got to grind at home. You know, I use my shop at home to make money. I work on other people's cars and stuff like that sometimes on the side to make a little extra money. I buy used cars and flip them to make extra money, and I utilize all of those items. So it comes from a place of not having nothing like that growing up. If I would have had a kid, my kid that I have today, getting off, if I was a kid her age and I watched her get off that school bus at that house, I would think that kid was rich. That, man, that kid right there is lucky. She's got it. My mind as a kid would go, I bet you she has a great Christmas, because I remember a Christmas where I had two gifts from Goodwill. They were broken toys, and it was all my mom could get me. So it comes from a place of me remembering of what it was like not having growing up. So I bust my butt to make sure I have. And I want to be able to give my children something more than debt. When my days come to an end, I would like to help them further their life in the future, because whatever I amass right now will go to my kids and contribute to their future, I would hope. Whether that be them live in the house, take on the house, or they come together and they sell everything that I've earned in my life, they sell it, it still gives them monetary gain in their life to work with. And I don't want to leave them with $1,000 or $2,000 and stuff like that. I want to leave them with something that if times are tough for them, they have a house. They have a house to sell, to buy, put a down payment on a house, something like that. So that's where my drive to do more and keep going comes from.
I love that, Adam. Thank you so much for clarifying that to me. So, what I hear you saying is from when you were a kid, because of the childhood that you had, where you felt that weight of poverty and not having, that's part of the drive for you to accomplish and succeed, because you want to make sure that you give your family more, but then also to give yourself more. You like to see accomplishment in not being the same way that you were as a kid, and to achieving more. And let me ask you, so far, am I right in connecting with what you said?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all along those lines. I never as a kid had vacations and experiences. And in the last 5 years, as a family, we've started having vacations and experiences. I'm able to take my wife and kids to various places. This year we went to Disney. We try to do something where we're going to Florida, we're going to the Space Museum. We've done a lot in the last 5 years. So working hard and putting that grind in, it gives me that ability too to give them things that I did not have growing up. Memories, not just tangible items, but the memories of things, the going places.
Yeah, one of the things that stands out to me about what you're saying about yourself is your strong, very strong focus on your vision for your life, what you're wanting to do, the motivation behind it, the why, and then getting to see it all like come into fruition must be completely satisfying. That's got to feel so good. And I wonder if that even motivates you to do more. Although, when you said that getting it was the easy part, keeping it is the hard part, that stood out to me. Is there like any type of like anxiety around that, or just is there some kind of fear that you're going to lose it?
No, it's not a fear that I'm going to lose it. It's just a fear that I have to maintain what I've got. Meaning I have to keep my grind going. I have to keep my focus moving forward, work related. I have to be there. And that comes in the aspect that, when I say that to myself, it's a reminder. You've got to show up. You've got to show up every day, and you've got to show out. You've got to be at work. You've got to be there. You've got to put in the time. That's the easy part of keeping it. the easy part of getting it because I've gotten it. Now I have to put in and keep it per se.
Okay, and does that feel like heavy to you, or are you motivated towards that?
No, I'm motivated. It's heavy. Yes, it's heavy because I have to tell myself you got to stay in the game. It means you got to be at work every day. You know, missing work's not an option. You don't make money missing work. You got to be there. So show up. And I feel like when it comes to work, that's where my worry is because there's never in my field a guarantee of anything. It doesn't matter what your quote unquote title is, you can be let go. And I want to have a resume for myself to I'm a desired product to where it stands out. And I feel like I only get that if I put in the effort. But sometimes at work, I feel like the effort may go unnoticed in the form of being the difference in being a valued employee versus being an abused, overused employee. You know, a valued employee is somebody I feel like you're asked to be in rooms that you are not required to be in. You are given information that just helps you all the way around, and you're coached. You're giving the tools to succeed. You're put in positions to succeed. Sometimes, what I mean by an abused employee is you're just expected to get it done because you can get it done. It's not necessarily the appreciation at the end of it as an accomplishment as we put you on the task because you could get it done. And that's all there was to it. Not that you were the guy for the job, you were the best for the task, you would just get it done.
Adam, I am so excited about coaching you. I have got to tell you that, and I'll say this out here for the recording, the parts that we talked about off of the recording, I wanted to connect with the why behind it and go a little bit deeper there and just see some of what you're really, really wanting at the heart of it, because that's what makes me a really good coach. It's seeing a person's heart and helping to activate that energy to help them pursue the goals that they want. And a lot of times when people approach coaching, it's very, very logistical, right? And I operate from behind the scenes. And what I've seen just from our conversation, tell me if you resonate with this, is that because of your childhood, you feel a need to achieve more for yourself. Now, while you're achieving more for yourself, you're getting to see the evidence of that. When you see the evidence of that, that makes you feel really good, but it also fuels the drive for you to continue providing that lifestyle for your family. In addition to that, you have even higher goals for yourself that will not only sustain what you have, but take you personally higher for the kind of stimulation you need in your life to succeed the way that you want to. Are you with me so far? And do you agree with that or no?
I do, yes.
Okay, what I love also, and understanding from you taking the Enneagram test that I asked you to take, thank you for doing that, from your threes, that you put in the extra effort. You will put the effort in at the highest level to learn and to serve any company that you work for. And you will do it diplomatically. And many times, threes will do that at the sacrifice of themselves. And what I mean by that, in accord with what you just told me, is that when you put 110%, sometimes that might get abused or neglected, taken for granted, not seen, all of that. Would you agree with me so far?
Absolutely.
Okay. And also going further, when we had our consult last week, what you told me is you're continuing to move forward. You want to keep progressing. And so, in progressing, you're progressing for you. You're not progressing out of motivation or fear from the current company that you are working for, but that you are motivated from an inner personal drive to accept and understand that this industry does move fast and is not permanent, doesn't promise you the commitment and the permanency that you desire. And so you want to go out and achieve that for yourself, your own way, whatever way that looks. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
My God, I love this, Adam. This is so cool.
So it's my overall goal of what I would love to accomplish isn't just myself, but I would love to be able to incorporate the teammates that I have below me right now into leadership classes as well. Because my idea would be, if I can help build. I'm not building, they're doing the building. But if I can help give the tools to build another leader out of that, that's somebody who can help fill a void that I would hopefully create by moving up to the next level myself. So I don't want to just move myself to the next level. I want to fill the void that I create with somebody who is capable as well.
I love that. And also, by the way, that's a natural description of a three. When you have more time, I would love for you to go read through your results.
Yeah.
If you're interested, I'll send you videos on it, but this is very, very aligned with your personality. So, in your personality trait, you have a drive to achieve things, but you do it at the highest level. You are using all assets of yourself to cooperate with the company, but also in service of the people that you work with, right? So you want to build together and you want to support and encourage others. That's huge. By the way, your Enneagram is actually from the heart section. There's three of us in the heart section. I'm in the heart section with you. Type 3 is in the heart section, but they're the highest achievers, right? That's natural for you. So not only are you going to achieve and accomplish things, but you're going to do it from a place of heart, which is going to include others. So that's beautiful. Something I found really interesting when we spoke last week, one of the things you were talking about wanting to grow in is the self assurance, right? You second guess yourself. You want to grow in confidence, right? And you want to have better communication. These are three areas that I can already see are in you. So it would just be pointing them out as you go along. Because one of the things that I wonder if it holds you back is you said that you see that others with degrees seemingly succeed more. Can you tell me a little bit more about that, where you got that thought?
Yeah. So, like in my trade, I see young men several times come into my field, and they come out of college. They'll come out of college, and instantly they're a project manager or they're a superintendent because they have a college degree. So they get out there to the field, and now all of a sudden, I'm tasked with training them with field experience. So I sometimes feel like I'm I would be easier to train the guy to do the office job that's had the field training versus taking a guy with knowledge and teaching him the field training. And it comes from possibly some military experience. A lot of times you'll hear the phrase that one of the best officers is a guy that came out of the enlisted ranks. And that's pretty much saying, that guy come from the field. He's been there with the hard knocks. He knows what the grunt looks like, the grunt work part of it looks like, because he's been there and he's done that. And I sometimes feel like not having that college education, it holds me back from excelling into those positions that I'm often looked over and looked at as just that hardworking construction guy that's out in the field. Like, we can depend on that guy to get the job done because he's hardworking.
Yeah. Okay, it makes sense because that's the way the culture may work in that field, right? That it looks like that's the way they do things. But let me ask you something like this. Do you see yourself as a different kind of thinker at all? Do you think that your ideas are different than other people?
50-50. Sometimes I think I might have an idea outside of the box, but I don't think that I think different. I think that a lot of times I think I just thought of it before somebody else thought of it, that they would have come to the same conclusion. I just got there first.
Yeah, you just got there first. Okay, and so if you get there first, what keeps you from announcing it first or bringing it to the table first?
Sounding stupid. It's a stupid.
Sounding stupid, right? Oh my God, I love this. One of the gifts that I get is that I've seen you in action. So I already know you're an out of the box thinker. If this was just brand new and I've never met you before, I wouldn't have the history. I'd need the history. But I've seen you in action. So I already know you're an out of the box thinker with great ideas. And I've also seen where you can be overlooked, right? So tell me what you think of this thought. If you had the confidence in yourself that your ideas are different and they're new and they're uh, just as valuable or more than someone with an education, a higher degree, do you think that would help drive you to start asking for that more and going for it more?
If I was given the tools and opportunity to implement ideas that I had along the way sometimes to drive the wagon train myself, I would double down on it. Like it I would give so much to be sure that it was successful
Yep.
that I would spend my own time.
Yep.
And I do believe with 100% certainty that all I need is one time with an idea to prove it for a company to look at it and go, if we implement that across the board, it'll save money, not just dollars, but thousands, hundreds, millions of dollars. That's the goal that I'm interested in doing. It's not just, I don't just want to work for the company and show up every day, humdrum, just put the job in. I want to take myself to the next level. But along with that, I want to be given the tools, the responsibility, and the ability to help take the company to the next level. Now, with that being said, the only way I ever see making it achievements is you've got to have a failure. If there's a failure and I fail, don't throw it to the side. Don't throw me to the side. Don't scrap the idea that failed. Let's evaluate why it failed because it can be successful. I had an idea with the company I'm with now, and I had a vendor that was willing to come in because I see with my company, I see a material handling issue and it's in very bad shape, disarray. And it's not going to get better unless somebody takes the bull by the horns and does the hard work. And up front, it's going to be very hard. And up front, it's going to cost money. And I've tried to explain that the long run of this, the potential of this, is to save money. Money that's already been lost is already lost. But if we don't take the initiative now to get this under control, all we're going to do is continue to set money on fire. So let's put the fire out and let's get this under control. But I feel like sometimes people don't realize how important that factor is, and it gets overlooked by things that are costing more money right now. I believe we can work on all of it, but we have to section it off in pieces. Make sense what I'm saying? And I
Oh,
know you have a review really big of what I'm talking about being in the purchasing field in history.
yeah. Well, I can totally see it too. What I see is that you see a problem, you have an idea, and you want to be able to offer a solution, which, by the way, have you expressed that solution and that idea?
I have.
Okay, great. And then does it get stifled?
It does.
Okay, I love it. Okay, so it gets stifled, and then that probably gets you discouraged or frustrated or something like, I see the problem and it could be fixed. And why aren't we doing something to get this working?
Yes, it's more than once. I had another one for communication. I go to these meetings in the morning. All leadership is in there. Information gets passed out in that leadership, but I see it doesn't get passed down to the manpower. And I'm like, there's a gap there. How do we fill that gap in?
I love that. Adam, let me ask you this. In the different various positions that you've been in different job sites, how many times have you expressed your ideas and felt like they weren't received?
It almost seems like every job site, like the one that I'm currently on, I have come to the realization of a lot of things that I think I'm going to incorporate. I've just kind of just started doing it. And I do it with a test crowd of just my crew of people and see how it does. And that's really what I can control is my group of 30 men. So I try to incorporate it there. And if I have a little bit of success, I try to take it back and go, hey, this is what I'm doing with my crew of guys. But I may have somebody who's running another crew that he may have 10 years experience on me with whatever he's doing that, nope, I've done it this way for forever. This is how I'm going to do it. We're keeping it like this. So it's a block wall. And one of the things about a rollout on anything is for it to be successful, you've got to have an all buy in. Everybody's got to buy in to it. I don't necessarily mean they have to buy into the idea, but they have to buy in to accept to try it. And that's where things fail.
Okay. It makes sense to me that it would get frustrating to continuously be turned down for your ideas. I love, though, the adversity that you've had in these various positions, that it has broadened your thinking to challenge you to try to implement your ideas in a practical way to show proof. So, what I hear you saying is, I've tried to present the ideas in advance so that I will be given the resources to implement what I'd like to implement. But since I'm not being heard, I'm going to find a different way to try to support and grow and prove some of my ideas and what I want to bring into a company to help build its culture. And would you agree with that so far?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thought that comes into my mind that I'm super excited about is, again, in your initial consultation with me, you talked about your self assurance and confidence. I can see 100% why this would be a little bit lower because of the feedback you're getting. It's not aligned with the level of your ideas. So you're almost questioning yourself like, am I even thinking right? Because I'm getting rejected this many times. Like, is it on my end? Is it something else? Blah, blah, blah. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. When you come in with ideas and it seems like they constantly get shot down, you decide to stop coming in with ideas because you've got a predetermined, well, they're going to shoot me down anyway. It's what always happens. So there's no need to take this thought any farther. And I come into the conclusion that it's like, okay, how do I implement what I want to do? Well, I have to become the guy who makes that decision. So, it's like I keep my idea to myself and I just go, all I've got to do is just keep working till I'm that guy, the guy who's over the job. And then I can implement it because it's mine. It's my place to run. I'm running it. So now we're implementing it.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what I see, and then I'm going to tell you what the challenge and opportunity I see is here as well. So it looks like to me that you are a big thinker, outside of the box ideas, and that you're just hitting walls with the communication. And so what you do is you find a different route to succeed, to get things going in order to get them to see and believe and climb on board with you. What happens there is you will start to create that momentum, but now comes the thought that maybe you're getting abused or not appreciated, neglected, which could very well be the case because you're not being seen. As long as they're getting what they want, then you're not really being seen for the value you're bringing to a company. And the thought that comes to me next is, oh, well, if he's a big thinker, that's a really great way to test out his ideas. Now, what I would challenge you with is to start growing in the connection with the trust and the confidence within yourself that these ideas are good. That as you start seeing the evidence of them in just your small circle, that's going to build your confidence to help you move forward wherever you end up going. Not move forward to keep trying to get your voice heard, but to move forward to keep practicing these skills, these ideas that you have, finding the evidence for yourself, and then seeing where that takes you next. Like it's your forward movement, like almost like you're getting paid to go to school and educate yourself to get you to the place that you want to get to. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah.
Okay, I think you're already kind of doing it, but I think I see some of the frustration, which I'm excited about working with you on the next session with. I know that we're getting ready to end now. So, with that, the challenge I'm going to give you this week, I want you to start thinking of yourself and the ideas that you put out into the world. And I want you to start looking at what you're putting out, not as not being appreciated, but as being the educational ground for you to move forward where you want to go. And how you can use these platforms to just keep building you up. And the reason I want you to start looking at the places that you've actually tried to implement these things, going back as far as you can forward, is because I want you to see how they've helped you grow, right? And as
Yeah.
you look at how they've helped you grow, I want you to see if you connect with what I'm saying in this is the platform for educating myself to where I really want to go. Not that I'm being held back or that someone with a higher degree is holding me back, but that this isn't the place for me or the time yet, but that I'm using this as a school and getting paid for it. What do you think when I tell you that, when I share that thought with you?
I do sometimes think with that mindset in the position that I am that that I am in a role that I'm building on, that this is a building block and I'm going to continue to build. And when I'm in that mindset of thinking now I'm undervalued and abused as an employee, I go back to the fact that I have a job, I'm supporting my family, and I'm getting knowledge. So I'm not the abused employee. I'm the employee who is taking what's going on here and I'm putting that into a product, which is me. I'm that product to the point that the value of that product is going to be worth more and I'm going to add tax onto it.
Oh my God. I love that. So, what do you need me for, Adam? You told me you need help with self assurance, confidence, and better communication. What the heck? You're showing me
Well,
all of that right here.
so I do need it, but I mean, out in the field, sometimes I fail to think like that. It's when I get home, and a lot of times it has to do with, conversations with the wife because she'll talk me up and she's a positive force all the freaking time. And I think to myself, okay, she's right. I'm going to listen to what she's got to say. And it helps me kind of open my eyes to it and think about it on a different level.
And then what happens?
I agree and I go to sleep and I go back the next day with a different mindset of I'm not going to be abused. You're not bullying me. And I just pull my bootstraps up and go in with a different approach sometimes.
Okay, well, then this is what we're going to do then. We're changing the assignment because you just told me on your last assignment you already do that, which I love. So then what I want you to do is I want you to bring me your crap next week. You find your problem this week. You find the thing that's draining your energy and that you're really struggling with that's like getting on your nerves or weighing you down. And I want you to bring that to the table next week. Does that sound like a good assignment?
Will do.
Okay, because we're gonna hash that out and see what's going on there.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you, Adam, for sharing you with me and sharing your ideas. I'm excited about being a part of this because I think you're badass. And I think that you are an outside thinker. And I think that you have changes that need to be made and are ready to be made. But it's just, where is that going to be? Who's going to be the lucky company that gets you?
Right. Right.
Right. All right. Well, have a great week. And I will talk to you next week.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye bye.